Now, today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Elegoo Saturn 3 Ultra. Now, this is a 12K resin printer that is fast, has amazing quality, has Wi-Fi features, and is super easy to use. Let's go ahead and check it out. All right, guys, so now we're taking a closer look at the Elegoo Saturn 3 Ultra, and this is a fantastic resin printer. You can see by the bottles that we have here on the side that we have been printing like mad people. Just taking a look at the overall quality and speed of this resin printer. A couple things about it. Let's go over some of the specs here. It's a 10-inch 12K mono LCD. It basically has 9H tempered glass, XY resolution of 19 by 24. And basically, you're going to be able to get some fantastic speeds out of this. 150 millimeters per second high-speed printing. And we've been seeing it. We've been seeing some really nice prints. You'll see a print that we just did from actually Rise of the Beasts. It was a Optimus Prime that took just 6 hours to print on this. It has Wi-Fi transfer speeds of 6 to 10 megabits, so it's very fast. It has a laser engraved build plate, 4-inch HD IPS touchscreen that you can see right here, and it has a built-in active carbon air filter. And I want to say that the air filter for me is one of the biggest wins here, in addition to the speed, because, you know, while we don't have this inside of the house, this is actually in my garage where we do all our resin printing, and you can see that we have a lot of stuff going on here. There is no smell coming out of this. And what I like about this, again, if I take it out right here, the cool thing about this is that it is powered. It's USB powered. Now all you have to do is connect it here back into the USB slot, and you're set to go. Now, the one thing about this is that this resin tray is large. The one thing is, as I'm going through my prints, I find that even if you're going to print something small, you're going to need to make sure that you fill this guy up. So there's going to be a lot of resin that you'll need to store here in order for it to print. Now, the cool thing about that, though, is that if you're going to be printing some large prints, you don't have to come back and refill this often. You notice that it does have a max line. It has the removal knobs on each side if you want to remove it. It does not have an autofill system like we've been seeing by some other resin printers. And the one thing I will highlight that I don't know why it does this, but I wish maybe it's because of the design, is the build plate here at the very top. It has one of the largest release knobs that I've seen ever. This thing is massive. But on the sides here, resin tends to pool on the sides. I wish that wasn't the case, because when you take this off, you tend to spill resin. So what I find myself doing is, before taking it off, having to take my squeegee and squeegeeing some of that resin off so that it can fall back into the plate. Something up with the design, I wish maybe it's because of the angle. I have some other resin printers here on the side that don't have that problem. There doesn't seem to be any pooling that takes place up here. If that was the complaint, you know, the biggest complaint I have, that's the biggest complaint. It's just about that, nothing else. Besides that, I really love this printer. All right, so let's take a look at this screen for a second, and I'm going to call it how it is. This thing is gorgeous. I really love the color. I love the detail here. I like the way the icons here are, you know, they just feel multi-dimensional, right? So if I go to print, you can either print from various sources. If you had anything local, I don't have anything. You can see your history of what you printed, which we printed quite a bit. We're going to go back here. You can go to the tool area, right? So you can do manual settings. You can do your tank cleaning, set your Z screen exposure, right? You can then go, if you go to system, you'll be able to look at language settings, Wi-Fi settings, version upgrade, system settings as well, so that you can go ahead and make any changes that you see right here that would be fit. It's just really straightforward and very easy to use. Now here you'll be able to see what I was talking about. So one of the largest knobs I've ever seen to be able to remove a build plate, but also a really, really nice support structure here. So as this is going up and down, it's super quiet, super steady. And you can see what I was talking about, the pooling of the resin that you see right there. So all you need to do is make sure that before you take it off, you squeegee that off, because it's definitely going to have resin there. And, you know, like, let's face it, resin is expensive and resin is messy. So you need to make sure that you can take that stuff off. So when you take off your build plate, you're not dealing with any kind of situations where you see resin spilling over. As we mentioned, largest knob in the history of knobs. And it's like, just had to say it again. But we'll turn this over so you can see how nice this build surface is. So you can see the build surface there. You can see the reflection. Laser. Everything sticks. Absolutely love how well this stuff sticks. So definitely something that I find makes this really enjoyable when you're doing resin printing, because you don't have to worry about things not printing or sticking to the actual build surface because it's gonna stick. Now this printer also has a real nice enclosure, and I have to say, as soon as you put this enclosure on with that carbon filter, you smell no resin. Now keep in mind that if you have a workspace where you have resin parts laying out, you're going to get some odor there. But when it comes to this, there is no odor at all, which I think they did a fantastic job. Now, on the back of the printer, you're going to see that there's also a venting system that you can choose if that's something that you'd like to vent things out. Now, here on the side, you'll be able to see that you have your power switch, you have your Wi-Fi, and then you have your USB connector. Now, on the back of the printer, you're going to see some venting options, but as I mentioned, you really don't need it given how well that carbon filter works. So now let me show you what the output is, or take a look at these prints. So this is one of the models that is on the USB stick from Elegoo. And again, traditional chess piece, but this looks great. So you can see the Saturn 3 Ultra, right? Great detail, really, really clean print. Now, let me show you some of the things that my son's been printing. So I have this guy right here. Rotate him around. Simple print, right? Still cool. And then we also then have some other things going here on the side. Let me show you what else we have. Put that to the side. These are some Warhammer components. Look at that detail. That is really, really nice. Another part. We're using their 8K resin. That's all we have at this time. But you can see what that looks like. Here's another component. See the details there. All right. Here's another really nice one. Check that out. Really nice detail. Now, I'm a fan of the Transformer, so, and you saw this was actually one of the models that we printed on the actual FDM printer. And this, we did resin. Now this came out spectacular. Check that out. We're going to prime this up, no pun intended. And then what we're going to do is we're going to paint this up really nice. Detail, fantastic. I think we went a little bit over with the resin. I can feel that there's a lot of weight to this. But when you take a look at this detail, oh boy, this is gorgeous. Take a look at that. This is where you start seeing kind of like that highlighted resolution. Look at his eyes. Really makes a difference. Bottom is nice too, right? Fantastic. So overall quality, overall speed, and again, this guy right here was 6 hours, just 6 hours to print, 9 hours on the Pro, but the quality, let me bring the Pro over so I'll show you the difference of what you get when you're using a filament-based printer at high speed versus this resin. So take a look at the differences in quality. There is absolutely no question about how much better this looks. Same print. 9 hours, 6 hours. Resolution. Yep, this is the one to go with, for sure. So, do I recommend this? Absolutely recommend it. It's fast. It's easy to use. I think we may have had maybe one fail from all the prints that we've been running. And you saw we've been printing a lot of stuff. We've been doing a lot of testing as well. So there's going to be a lot of things that we were taking a look at. Overall quality is spectacular with this. Now, and I can't wait to see what happens with other resin types, how well this printer prints. So guys, that wraps up our review. See you in the next video.